month of May continues. This time a little bit slower though. Not only that, but we're also heading for the East Coast. A different state, a different beast. Not as glorious as Monaco or Indianapolis, there's a little racetrack sitting in a town called Concord, just north of Charlotte, called Charlotte Motor Speedway. From North Carolina, it's the Global SimRacing channel with Rob 7's coverage of Big C's MX-5 Challenge Season 2. And in this season so far, Robert Hartley doesn't know any other word than podium. 6 races and never worse than 3rd, no matter the track. Be tight like Okayama or wide and fast like Road America, he truly has become one with the car and the tracks. Boonwish and Torres behind him are set for a fight though. The latter having won the last race, he might be the biggest challenger for the last 4 races, but with an average finishing position of 7th, he has to pick up and start delivering. So as we all get ready to watch more simulated MX-5 action, we welcome you all into the GTR Countdown to Green. For the next few minutes, we'll bring you all the storyline stats and facts you'll need to be up to date with Big C's MX-5 Challenge. And as the name already suggests, this segment is sponsored by GTR Racing Simulators, which are currently used as a training aid for professional race car drivers. But you too can learn to ace that braking, sharpen those corners and shave off those vital seconds. Whether you're a professional driver or a gamer looking for a more immersive way to play, GTR has your back. Get started today over at www.gtrsimulator.com. The crew to give you all the stats and storylines will be Chris Fobby, joining myself, Stefan Schlacher. Turning the knobs and pushing the buttons behind the scenes is our director Sean Rex Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by the great Doug Beal. Chris, I always feel like the road course of Charlotte is a combination of a small club track and a big one like Road America. What is your take on today's venue?
Well, this is a very interesting circuit. As far as I'm concerned, it's kind of like a hybrid circuit, so to speak. You have the high banks of the normal Charlotte quad oval that we're used to, but then you also have that twisting and turning infield section, and then you have the chicane on the backstretch that makes these drivers really have to pay attention to what they're doing because they can catch those curbs, or they can just get straight up caught out and end up catching a wall, which is pretty easy to do around this course. There's a variety of challenges that these drivers will be facing today, and not always the greatest of passing opportunities at this track, but it should make for an interesting race, and with that we will throw things down to our lap guide.
Alright, we're in the GSRC SRF, so let's do a lap around Charlotte. Down in a heartburn turn, there's not as much braking as you'd expect, but the big danger here is both the big blue curb on the inside and getting snap oversteer at any point. The wall on the outside is ready to collect you if you overcorrect. From there, you can keep your foot in it all the way around 2, but you'll have to quickly swing it across the track to set up for 3. It's very difficult to find a fast way through this corner because it effectively creates one long arc into 4. You might notice you can take some liberties with those blue lines as they don't indicate the track limits. You're allowed to run it all the way out to the grass. 5 can be taken flat out, but you want to keep the car stable since you'll be braking right away for 6. The combination of the crest and the concrete wall at the apex make this a very blind corner. But it quickly switches back into 7, where once again the flow of the track makes it tough to find the fastest line. This is especially critical because 8 dumps you back onto the oval, which means it's probably more important to focus on setting up the exit than coming into the corner very hot. Now we finally get a moment to relax as you bring the car down to the bottom of the banking and make sure you hit nice clean shifts. But be prepared to thread the needle because up next is the backstretch chicane. This is going to be a little bit of Russian roulette because the bumps and the curbs can create unpredictable behaviors for the car and send you spinning in a flash. Often, this ends with a trip to the wall. But as you can see, the temptation is going to be great to fly through there as fast as you can because of the way you need to carry your speed in a NASCAR 3 and 4. And that brings us to the final chicane, which is one of the few heavy braking zones on this course. Expect a lot of desperate pass attempts here. Don't get greedy on the curbs, straighten it out, and hopefully you've now finished a lap around Charlotte.
And that was Joe Peak talking you around a lap in the Spec Racer Ford. Yes, you didn't not only see correct, but that really was a Spec Racer Ford because Joe Peak managed to blow the engine when he tried to do the lap guide here today in the MX-5, so we sadly had to take the Spec Racer Ford out for a lap. around that. But let us now take you a lap around the championship standings. And on that championship standing, you still can see your defending champion Robert Hartley atop the charts with 142 points to his name. Maxim Bunvish, the Ukrainian driver there in second place, already 21 points behind. But we're expecting quite a bit from him here today because he is strong on rough tracks. Torres is starting to gather momentum behind in third place, 110 points to his name, 32 points behind in third place. And Sonny Kanchan, a little bit of a different story there, 2 DNFs and 1 no-show so far. He's gonna add a no-show here today too, because he's not on the track today. And Christian Lindroth, interesting story with him too, down there in 5th place. He is a steady top 10 finisher, but he's starting to gather little by little some momentum. And if you're not confused by the numbers we just show you, then we can tell you Chris is gonna have much easier trouble with you today.
All right, with the easy numbers here, this is round 7 of 10 for the season for the Big C's MX-5 Challenge. This is a 40-minute race with at least 1 required pit stop. It is a fixed setup event with a no-incident cap. The top 15 finishers will be scoring points, so look for some adventures back around the 15th position. And these drivers are allowed 2 fast repairs.
2 fast repairs, which they might need here today because, Chris, the walls are mighty close.
Yeah, especially in the infield section of this track, there's not a lot of room for mistakes, and we're kind of mentioning it off air too. The curbing at this place can be quite a challenge.
Charlotte might be as far away as nearly possible from Monaco, but that infield has a feel of the wide and twisty Monaco circuit. And as you can already see, qualifying going on for nearly 7 minutes up to this point, and Robert Hartley, the defending champion, showing why he is exactly that, sits in 1st place. Maxime Bunvich just took over 2nd place from Maxime Detilly. Cliff Levin 4th place, and Kenny Brandy right now rounding up your top 5 in qualifying.
Yeah, Robert Hartley has just been the picture of consistency all season long, putting in several great performances and finds himself looking like a good grid spot, at least has the potential for it here this afternoon.
I always wonder if the drivers look back onto the replay of the race, and if they do so, Christian Lindroth, a little bit of a shout out from Joni Hagner on your way. So yeah, maybe Christian can do something here today, because he's sitting 6th place right now. So he really is gathering up that momentum slowly but surely. Just got bumped down to 7th place as Cassie Almeida puts in a 3rd place time at 24.79.
Yeah, Lindroth, another one of those drivers that have been quietly lurking a little bit, maybe a little bit further back at the running order than Hartley from time to time, but he's just been consistently clicking off points finishes week after week.
Christian Lindroth right now coming onto the that's turn 4 now of the oval. Let's see what he can do coming into the last chicane. 17 turns here, as already mentioned. A little bit weirdly counted because the chicane in the backstretch only counts as 2 turns instead of 4. Christian Lindroth not getting in a lap time this time around, so he continues to sit on a 25.214. And then Marek sitting in 17th right now, racing out of New England. He is coming into the last chicane himself too in the beautiful orange car. Jumps over the curbs heavily. Let's see what he can put in. Did not count.
Well, if it didn't count, at least it was enough to make some of our viewers probably motion sick on that onboard as he rocked over those curbs.
Really bad for him was that he would have had a faster lap time by a little bit, 500th of a second, which would have put him back into 17th as he lost another position.
And like we mentioned, those curbs, looks like they jumped out and bit Kenny Brady there.
And Szabol Sprem on board the number 13 car, sitting in 23rd right now. He's the next to cross the line. Well, let's see what he can do coming into the last chicane himself. Oh, spins it out. Now he does. Loses it hard into the wall. And Chris, this might be something that will be a bit more common in the race.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of calling a few different races at the Charlotte Roval since I've been on GSRC, and one thing that's been consistent, no matter what kind of car it is this track just seems to throw these drivers for a loop. Sometimes literally, if they hit those curbs right.
4.5 minutes remain. Still on top, Robert Hartley ahead of Maxime Boonwish, Kasia Meder, Maxime Tilly and Clifford Eben, your top 5 right now, as Juan Manuel Fernandez, he just let some guys by. He's on the outlap right now, coming through the very tricky back stretch chicane, which is pretty much flat out, I would imagine, in these cars.
Honestly, I don't know as a driver if I could take that flat out. I think I'd get a little scared and end up having to hit a brake or let off at the very least, because I may lack the ability to be as precise as some of these drivers we have in the field. Also, how about that maneuver by Fernandez? I don't know if anybody had eyes on him, but a car sitting parked the wrong way on the wall as he came out to make his time. He crosses the line and then had to immediately swerve around a car that was parked against the wall.
And jump on the binders at the same time. I did catch that. That was really an awesome move by him. Gary Weaver coming out of the line did not count for him, so he still has not a single time qualifying lap, and he has already put in 4 tries thus far. So Gary Weaver seems like he's taking a little bit too much risk right now here in qualifying. We still have about 3 minutes remaining in this session.
Now, one thing that I haven't seen so much in the MX-5 cars, I've seen here before though, is once we get to race time, you do see a variety of different lines these drivers are taking through the banked corners. What do you think is going to be the smart way to approach those in this type of car? Do you think the momentum on the banking would help, or do you want to stick to the bottom and try to narrow up your lap as much as possible?
The momentum you technically would get from the bankings, I think, is enough to cancel out the shorter line you're taking on the bottom. So I think what you're gonna see is everyone staying to the bottom and then only coming up about halfway on the back straight, and then already turning into the backstretch chicane. So yeah, but we might see something happening on the top, especially if they manage to link up together and do a little bit of bump drafting. Then I can see someone trying and overtaking someone on the top, but apart from that, I think it will be hard for these guys.
That's a pretty good point. I did not think about was the fact that these cars can and will draft so well on a track that has as much area to run as this one.
Gary Weaver coming over the line here. I think he is on an out lap because he crashed after coming to the last lap around. So he starts his probably last lap right now, 1 minute 17 remaining. He will not cross the line before the time runs out. So that is his last chance at this qualifying.
Yeah, hopefully he makes it to the line before time runs out. Otherwise, in the end, it won't even matter.
Maxime Tilly coming out of the line. Let's see what he can do. He has one more chance of this, 26.6, so that was way slower. So one more chance, last lap qualifying for him pretty much. Let's see, Adam Merrick coming over the line, sits in 19th, did not count for him, so he has also one more chance to improve from his 19th position.
Yeah, there's quite a few drivers that have not been able to put in a time.
who was that just extremely binning it into the chicane there? Holy moly. That was a crash and a half. Either way, Colton Selleck, he is coming over the line. What can he do? 26.3, that is it for him. 17th position is going to be his starting position unless he gets overtaken.
Hey, Gary Weaver was able to put in a lap. I know we were talking about him earlier, and he was able to finally get on the boards. Not a super impressive lap, but he's there nonetheless.
Seems like that was quite a banker with a 28.0. That is about nearly 4 seconds off Robert Hartley at this point.
Yeah, he had a rough go of it in the last chicane. Big surprise there. That's been kind of the trouble spot for a lot of these drivers, but he did get a time in. That's better than a few can say so far.
Case Almeida coming over the line, sitting in third right now. He has a little bit of draft from the guy ahead. It is Chabot Sprem getting in the way now. Oh, that was close. Did not improve though at 25.2, so it's 5/10 slower than what he had already, sitting on his name.
Looks like was that Vincente Salsa able to bump up into P2?
Christian Lintrod is coming over the line now. No, he is not. He's pitting in, same with Nico Arvilomi. And I think that does it for qualifying. And the starting grid is, as always, sponsored by the SimRacing Studio. Want to enhance your SimRacing experience, but don't feel like spending hours doing it? SimRacing Studio creates plug-and-race SimRacing accessoire and software to enhance your experience without any DIY effort. Go to www.simracingstudio.com for more information. And atop that SimRacing Studio starting grid is Robert Hartley, Groundhog Day at the point end of this grid, but behind him, or alongside him rather, Vicente Salas, new name, straight up to the top of the chart, so that's going to be interesting. Maxime Bunvich, as already mentioned, strong on draft tracks, sits in third place in this grid. Case Almeida, fourth place, Maxime Detilly, fifth, Cliff Evans, sixth, Anthony Burris, seventh place, Melina Mann, eighth place, Kenny Brady in ninth place, and rounding out your top 10, Christian Lintrod.
11th on the grid is Jean-Francois Pinot with Nico Arvilomi in 12th. Justin Goulet is 13th on the grid, the lucky position, and Juan Manuel Fernandez in 14th. 15th will belong to Mark Brightman with Max Brady in 16th. 17th is Justin Taylor with Colton Selleck in 18th. 19th is Alex Hunt, and 20th on the grid will be Nick Carty.
Adam Mariak sitting in blackjack position, 21st for him. Simon Eppeling 22nd. Frank DeAngelis 23rd. Chabot Sprem the 13th sits in 24th. Gary Weaver with a banker down in 25th. Liam Sheen last count qualified down in 26th. Rounding out your field are Paulo Coimbra, Mitchell West, Rui Coimbra, Angelo Carlos, and Jared Liebert. And one thing we really have to point out, because this is a standing start, some drivers will start in the chicane, and those drivers are Juan Manuel Fernandez. You can see it there quite good on the shot. Juan Manuel Fernandez, Mark Brightman, Max R. Brady, Justin Taylor, and Colton Selleck will all have to start on a little bit of a weird starting spot here today.
Yeah, that's got to be a really weird angle to hit the gas, try to get the tires to hook up, and get the car turned and pointed to the straightaway.
Yeah, and also one more guy, Justin Goulet, down in 13th. He's also going to be starting in the inside here of the last corner, turn 17, alongside Juan Manuel Fernandez. So these guys will have a little bit of a deficit to make up into turn 1, but we're expecting a little bit of a stack up in turn 1, so these guys won't have too much problems as the engines start to harmonize. Off we go for round 7 is green here in the Big C's MX-5 Challenge, and Robert Hartley to a great start already out ahead of Vicente Salas. A little bit of a shuffle there for P3, stays the same though, and so far so clean as it seems.
Yeah, that was a great start by Hartley. He jumped right out there, was able to get on the line that he wanted for his entry into turn 1, and he's already driven away from the field a little bit.
How long will this take, though, to close up the gap for Vicente Salas? Remember, very long portion of full throttle here at Charlotte in this road course.
Yeah, now entering through 1 and 2 of what is the oval track.
And one thing we have to mention, in the road course configuration, people are allowed to drive on the apron by iRacing, but Cliff gave out the memo, you're not allowed to drive on the apron in the race nor in the qualifying, so these guys really will have to behave and not do anything stupid down under the line.
Looked like a relatively tame first trip through the chicane out on the backstretch. I was kind of surprised, was expecting a little more chaos, but up front looked like Vicente had Maxime Bunovic right on his back bumper there for a second.
They nearly touched, but Maxime Bunovic was able to avoid the rear of Salas, so no damage done to either car. Let's see, inside the top 10, I'm currently looking, the biggest gainer is Kenny Brady from 9th up to 7th, and the biggest loser is Anthony Burris. He went from 7th to 9th place, funnily enough. So Robert Hartley is a little bit under attack there from Salas in the infield, is able to withstand that pressure though, and onto the banking to go for the second time.
You know, I'm really surprised at how tame it's been in the early running. This track I've seen catch out so many drivers that seeing everything running so smooth here is just another testament to how great the driver quality we've had in this series has been.
We nearly had a commentator curse though, as Kenny Brady narrowly avoids the tire barrier for the backstretch chicane, loses the position to Melina Mann. So Mann now up to 7th place. And Salas also with the pass up for the top spot, so he is now your leader. Quite a race, opening race in the series for him. Starts in 2nd place and now leading the race.
Yeah, that's a very impressive showing here, especially against somebody like Robert Hartley, who's arguably been the class of the field this season. He's not a driver that is very easy to get by, and he picked his spot, and Vicente picked a good time to take the lead, but Hartley not letting him get too far away.
The Californian driver now leads the pack for the 3rd time on the banking, ahead of Robert Hartley, Maxime Bunovic, Cassie Almeida, and Maxime Datilli, your current top 5. There's already a little bit of a gap between Clifford Eben and Melina Mann. Everything slots in behind for the chicane, and Maxime Bunovic a little bit of a run, not enough though, as we go back into P9. That is between Christian Lindrod and Jean-Francois Pinot, as Maxime Bunovic gets overtaken into the last chicane by Cassie Almeida. And Christian Lindrod is able to retain his position for P9.
Oh, we got an attempt at a pass here, though, as Pinot looks to the inside of Lindroth, not able to make it happen into turn 1, though. Lindroth's able to pull away.
Lindrod very wide there through turns 3 and 4. Nearly kisses the outside wall there too. I think he had a little bit of an oversteer moment. Yes, indeed. He had through turn 3, pushing him away wide there, and he really lost out to Anthony Burris. So he completely missed that train of the top 8 or so people.
You know, getting back a little more towards the front of the field, Robert Hartley still within sight distance of Solis. Oh, and we got a move here. It looks like Bunovich getting ready to make a move.
Seems like some of these guys are lifting a little bit through the chicane and some are going flat out. It's a little bit of a risk versus reward situation through this chicane at this moment.
Well, as they like to say, to finish first, you must first finish, and it does nobody any good if they go barreling through the chicane, but you gotta think the guys up front probably are the ones that aren't lifting. As has been the case for a good chunk of this series, though, it looks like the drivers up front still staying all really close together. So
Mitchell West just had a problem, our reports say. What are we gonna see here on the replay? Actually, he lost out there on a battle and then completely lost another position there. Nearly went into the wall there. Great save by Mitchell.
yeah, that last chicane has definitely been tough on these drivers pretty much for the whole duration of the race.
Yeah, you can totally see how Robert Hadley is lifting. Cassie Almeida isn't, so he's getting ready for that P2 overtake. Goes to the outside, momentum on his side. And Robert Hadley lifts, lets him by, so Cassie Almeida up to P2.
Well, sometimes discretion the better part of valor, as Robert Hartley picking his battles there.
Adam Mariak is in the pits, and I think he's our first victim to the backside chicane. Talk us through that, Chris.
Well, here we see him going through turn 2 of the oval track, heading down the back straightaway there. Yeah, it looks like it's not his first hit. He catches those curbs, and when he gets back to the track, maybe once he met the banking, just kind of lost the rear end. Goes head on into the wall, heading towards turn 3 of the oval track.
That was quite a heavy hit there for him. And for our Colton Selleck fans, we don't need to go there, but Colton Selleck down into turn 1, too fast downshift, blew his engine. He's currently driving around with a smoking car. So he is losing more and more positions at the moment. And Robert Hadley also, while we were on the replay, Robert Hadley did overtake Cassie Almeida again. So he is now back into P2, but Cassie Almeida once again with some momentum. Does not take the opportunity though into turn 16. A little bit of a fight behind them though. Christian Lintrod losing out 2 positions here over Justin Taylor and Jean-Francois Pinot. Oh, Pinot nearly losing it there over the sausage curb.
Yeah, big moment there for Pinot there as he came out of the chicane. Well, this so far has been a pretty good battle between these 3 drivers. Nothing too physical, but a lot of really good racing.
And behind them, that's the lap car of Mark Brightman. He also ran into some problems earlier in the race. So he is not part of this battle. But Christian Lintrod going a little bit the wrong direction right now. After going up to about 7th position, he now lost all the positions and sits now down in 11th. We might have to jump up top though, because Robert Hadley is under attack again from Cassie Almeida. But he was too close in the chicane and had to lift to not run into Robert Hadley. So that stalled out. Robert Hadley has to run on Vicente though, does not take it to the top. So he stays in behind, saves some more fuel, and continues to sit in 2nd place. And Chris, while we're on the topic of fuel saving, you think it's gonna make much of a difference here?
I mean, you do have those big oval track sections where those guys would be heavy on the gas. So you got to think having maybe the draft or even letting off through the chicane like we've seen Robert Hartley do a little bit. Those little bits here and there, that's got to help, as we are just crossing over 1/4 distance in this race, just over 10 minutes in. So with a 40-minute grind here, you got to believe saving every little bit could possibly be the difference.
Yeah, and remember, guys, there's only 25 minutes that these guys can do with the preloaded 3.3 gallons, rather. That's not the maximum they can put on in the stop. They have open fuel cell, but they only get 3.3 gallons to start with. A little bit of a different ruling here in the series, which obviously allows for completely different strategies. You can pit in the first lap, or you can run it 25 minutes and then pit. And on top of that, you can also take tires, at least 2 tires, during your pit stop, as Chris and Lindrad made a big mistake just now. And Justin Taylor sits also in P9. Jean-Francois Pinot not taking anything on that, as I think the lights just switched on in the oval section. Everything got a little bit brighter here. And to finish up on that pit stop talking, Chris, 2 tires, are you gonna take it, and which side?
Oh, that is a real question there. I feel like with these street radials that these drivers run on, I don't know how much wear and tear they're really going to see on those. What do you think on that, Stefan?
Well, we heard quite a few times already that these guys really can feel the tires degrade through the race. So I'm expecting a lot of people actually to take tires here, especially on, let me see, the right side. And maybe some go a bit contrary to that and take left side tires. Obviously, right side tires you would take because of the oval, because you want that grip, and the left side tires just to be that little bit quicker in the infield, because that's all, or pretty much all, left-hand turns, as Robert Hartley gets ready to set the overtake on P1. Salas goes back into P2. Robert Hartley overshooting the chicane, though does not hit the wall, but loses 2 positions also to Casalmeida. Casalmeida trying to go, no, he does not. Slots in P2, but Robert Hartley under attack now from Maxime Boonvich. Really losing positions now. Can he retain that P3 at least? Nearly sending it 3 wide. Maxime Tilly does. And Maxime Boonvich now makes the overtake happen on Robert Hartley.
I do think Hartley, he may not have gotten it too hard, but Hartley did definitely make contact with that wall. I saw sparks flying as he got up close to it. And hopefully it didn't damage the suspension. That's a very impatient maneuver from Robert Hartley to kind of force the issue like that and then end up blowing the chicane. And not typically the types of moves we've seen from him this season. Wonder if maybe the getting closer to the end of the championship, and Hartley's been very consistent, but maybe looking to get into victory lane here as we have another attempted pass for the lead, as Salice and Almeida trying to battle it out through the chicane.
Robert Hartley in behind. Nope, never mind. Maxime Tilly lifts, so they stay also the same cliff. Maybe Robert Hartley takes to the pits though. Perfectly on the speed limit there. They do not have a limiter. We can most definitely go a little bit too fast when accelerating again. Robert Hartley, the first one to say nope, I'm out. Probably because of the damage he retained from the wall. That's better right now. Take the pit stop, take the fast repair, and get out again in clean air with a clean.
Yeah, there's plenty of damage to that vehicle, so probably getting in and getting serviced as quick as possible. Probably not a bad idea. Looks like he's at least getting right side tires. And he's away. So just right sides, it looks like, for Hartley.
So he's taking exactly that strategy. 2 tires are free here in this series because of how much fuel you need to take. As Chabosh Prem had a little bit of a problem, Chris. Oh, Wow.
That's maybe more than a little bit of a problem.
Takes flight there through the backstretch chicane as Casi Almeida once again on the back of Vicente Salas. Has run now because of the draft. Will he take it? No, he starts to let off the throttle. He stay in behind and save some more fuel. Does anyone take to the pits? Maxime Detilly. He takes to the pits, and next driver to pit out of your top 10. Milinaman joins him too, that is from 7th position. And it seems like Mark Brightman had another mistake as he retires the car.
Yeah, Brightman's had a bit of a frustrating race. Saw him earlier on. Looks like he may have gotten into the back of somebody under braking early in the event, and it's just been all downhill since then for him. So tough break for Brightman. Hope to see him back out at the next event.
They Tilly took 2 tires. Milinaman not taking any tires. Goes off now too, so these two are out and running again. Oh, Robert Hartley overtakes the Tilly, so Robert Hartley retains his track position over the Tilly. Where are our leaders though? Our leaders are going into the backstretch. Oh, and ahead of them a big wreck. That's Liam Sheen. Can they get through that? They have to go to the apron to avoid that car.
Well, let's take a quick look back at that incident that almost caught our leaders out. And looks like maybe the curbs. Oh, yep. He got caught out transitioning back onto the banking and then went for a roll down the bank and turn. Gonna hop on board with your leader here as he heads down the back straightaway.
Yeah, buckle up and prepare to duck. Here he comes. Takes it to the apron. Great awareness by Vicente Salas. And they continue on to find another lap.
That's probably the last thing you want to see up ahead of you when you're the leader is a car barrel rolling down the track. I guess you probably don't want to see that when you're in any position, but I've never really been the leader to know.
Alright, let's quickly compare lap times between Robert Hartley and the leader of Vicente Salas. Vicente Salas with a 25.3 last lap around, and Robert Hartley with a 26.154. So he is currently losing out to the top guys. So questionable right now if that was the right strategy to do here.
So Clifford Eben back in 4th spot now, trying to run down Maxime Bunovich ahead of him to break onto the podium.
Robert Hartley, in case you're wondering, right now in 9th position, he is the top runner of the pit cycle right now. And oh, Casi Almeida is actually trying to overtake right now Vicente Salas and actually does make it happen. That was because of a mistake through turn 4. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to take a look back at our pass for the lead here. So Almeida just catches Salas going wide and pulls alongside. Bon voyage. Well, it looks like that battle's not quite done yet. Ooh, Salas giving him a shove down the back straight towards the chicane. Doesn't make the pass, but they are not far apart right now.
Oh, look in behind though. Eben is coming up on the back of Maxime Bunovich. Does he take it to the outside? No, he does not. Slots in behind, so Clifford Eben stays in 4th place. Your current top 5, Casi Almeida ahead of Vicente Salas, Maxime Bunovich, Clifford Eben, and Anthony Boyce.
whole top 5 really close together right now.
Vicente Salas really does look strong through that infield, at least stronger than Casi Almeida right now, but is not able to do anything with it over speed, or rather does not want to do something with that over speed. They are starting to drop little by little. Clifford Eben, who seems to only be able to retain with these guys right now because of the draft, always loses a little bit in the infield, but then closes up again through the back half of this circuit.
Salas once again got a great run on Almeida, but did not try to pass, just bumps him down the straightaway.
Oh! Oh! Clifford Eben drags hard into the outside wall.
All right, let's take a look back at that incident there.
If we could get a shot there from Clifford's onboard, because Maxime Boonwish is flashing his rear, is flashing his rear lights there. I wonder if he wanted to go into pit lane and Clifford didn't get the memo there. Either way, a very weird incident as Casi Almeida lost the P1 position there over Vicente Salas in the infield. That was out of turn 4, just better run for Salas. Got him in turn 6.
Well, Almeida gets the draft as they come off of the oval onto the back straightaway and gives Salas a bump as they head towards the chicane. Follows right in his footprints, and then they keep going into turns 3 and 4 of the oval.
And Maxime Boonwish takes to the pit stalls now, so that really makes me wonder if he was really wanting to do that the last lap already.
You think maybe he just blew his entrance, and that kind of what caused that whole incident with Cliff?
No, it looked like he was flashing his rear lights to make Clifford Eben to say to him, "Hey, I'm pitting, go around me," and then start to brake, and Clifford Eben just completely smacked that rear end. Really lucky for Boonwish to not get any damage or anything from that, as he takes no tires, maybe because of the time lost as Robert Hartley goes already into turn 2. So he's really close to the back of Maxime Boonwish, but not close enough. As Almeida just put into the chat that he's gonna pit this time around. So we're expecting at least another driver out of the top 5 to pit.
I wonder if maybe that's part of why he wasn't challenging as hard for the lead and just kind of going for the draft there. Ooh, came in hot there to the pits.
That was sure an aggressive move there, down into the pit lane. I think he's also the latest breaker that I've seen so far for the pit entrance. Let's see what his strategy is for the pit cycle. Seems like he's taking also no towers, so very interesting split strategies so far for the top few guys, as Robert Hartley has already caught Maxime Boonwish, who is going over the line right now into turn 1. He goes now. Where is Casi Almeida? There he is. He is gonna slot in behind these guys. Interesting.
Yeah, he kind of sat there for a while in his pit stall. Not sure if he was getting something prepared or what, but he definitely took a minute down there in his pit.
Let's have a look. His pit stop wasn't actually that slow. It's just a second slower than everyone else, but his pit lane transition time, 41 seconds, about 3 seconds slower than everyone else. So that might be the reason why. Let's see for the top guys, is anyone else now going to pit? Vicente Salas does. Anthony Burris goes past one more time, so on into the pit lane goes our current leader. Down a very slow pit straight, he goes 40 miles per hour.
So
Justin Taylor also came in. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just gonna say a couple more drivers towards the front of the field, heading into the pit lane.
Yeah, we are getting close to the 25-minute mark. Vicente Salas goes off the pit. He also took no tires, and he's also major losing out to the 4 guys that have repitted. So it seems like the overlap in lap speed is now in favor of this pack over the other guys. Where is our current leader, Anthony Burris? He's going... I just thought for a second he's running out of fuel. No, he's not. He just lifted through the backstretch chicane as Gary Weaver. Miserable day for him. There he is on the inside. Wrecked car yet again. So another victim to the backstretch chicane as Anthony Burris goes into pit lane right now, which is most likely going to hand over the lead to Maxime Boonvish.
Yeah, you mentioned Gary Weaver had a tough day, but you know what? At this point, he's pretty numb to it.
Robert Hartley going to the outside. He is trying to take that position away from Maxime Boonvish. Obviously, they are fighting for the championship. First, Avec gets Sagno! Case Almeida! Oh, now comes the wreck. I was waiting for something to happen here. Case Almeida overshot the braking point there for turn 16.
Everybody really close together going into the chicane.
Just taps first Robert Hartley there on the back, sends him wide, and then seems like he tried to give Robert Hartley the room there, or had actually also slide, and then clatters the wall, jumps out a little bit again, and nowhere for Maxime Detilly to go. So those two are heavily damaged. Maxime Detilly has damaged steering. He just clattered once again the wall, coming back onto the oval. But that all left Maxime Boonvish now running a little bit away with the lead because of probably the damage that Robert Hartley retained there.
Yeah, sometimes it's right place, right time, and Boonvish able to avoid that whole incident.
And Salas just got past Robert Hartley. It seemed like Robert Hartley did just let him by there. Oh, big slide for Robert Hartley! Into the wall he goes! Oh, and gets clapped on the back by Anthony Burris.
Well, a very uncharacteristic performance from Robert Hartley, but like you said, he's probably carrying some damage from that earlier incident. Comes off of the corner there and unfortunately goes wide into the wall. And then to add insult to injury, he gets tagged on the back.
I wonder if that oversteer moment there had to do with the damage he already had. Maybe something wasn't 100% right with his geometry in the suspension parts.
That's kind of where I was leaning towards as well.
So we might see here before us today the first race this season where Robert Hartley is not finishing inside the top 3. The front doesn't look all that bad, but once he comes around and you can see that rear end of that car, you might a little bit unconscious with how bad this rear actually looks. And seems like it's also a little bit crabbing, probably because of the contact with the wall or with Anthony Burris. But it seems like to still be able to drive quite nicely through the last chicane. Yeah, your defending champion and current championship leader really running into troubles here at Charlotte. And Charlotte, the road course, Chris, it seems a little bit like the Darlington Raceway of road courses.
Yeah, this is really a track that is surprisingly temperamental from what I've seen. I mean, it's more so the drivers aren't really racing each other. They really race the track because there's just so much different stuff you encounter when you're driving on the Roval that, I mean, realistically, it's more the track than the competition.
And we are currently looking at the battle of Alex Hunt. That is between himself and Maxime Detilly for P11. Alex Hunt, you were able to see that he jumped up from P19, so he himself gained a 7th position in this race so far. Seems like he is on a quick look through the field. No, he is not actually. Mitchell West is the biggest winner in this race so far, 28th to 20th, but he's no longer racing. So if the car's currently still running, Alex Hunt is your biggest mover in the field.
Yeah, that is a tremendous drive for sure. We're going to head back up towards the second position. Still not too close right now, as Gunovic has quite the lead, but I think the battle shaping up is coming from behind.
Yeah, Robert Hadley is able to stay with Boris, and Boris is getting closer to Vicente Salas, And I have to correct myself yet again, because Justin Taylor actually is your biggest mover in the field from 17th up to 6th place. So good job, Justin. Let's see what will shape up here for this battle for P2. Anthony Burris, 2 wheels in the air there. Also had a little bit of a slide there. And a 666 of Maxime Detilly just got a black flag for avoidable contact.
Now, this is a series that's been pretty forgiving as far as those types of offenses, so it must have been pretty bad for them to get a black flag.
Actually, completely wrong. No, I read that the wrong way around. It's Cassie Almeida with the black flag for avoidable contact with the 666. So Maxime Detilly, obviously, without fault there in that incident. Either way, Anthony Burris did close up on Vicente Salas, also due to the fact that Simon Eppleby was a little bit in the way of Vicente Salas. So a little bit of a thanks goes out to Simon for bringing these 3 cars together.
So I know we had hypothesized a few different ways we thought this race might go, but with just over 5 minutes left to run, has this race played out kind of how you expected, as we see a pass now for second spot with Anthony Burrows?
Hartley comes
and now
too.
Robert Hartley. Yep, Hartley follows him through. So now P2 and P3 changing on that lap.
I was holding my breath there. I've seen quite some bad stuff when people try to go too wide or overtake someone into this chicane. But yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens with this, as you said, because honestly, everything is wide open except for probably P1, unless Maxime Boomwish starts to make mistake after mistake.
But getting back to the point I was trying to make before we saw that awesome pass there, how has this race played out kind of how you expected it to, Stefan? Or do you think maybe this track's throwing a curveball even to us?
Well, the attrition it was quite kind of high today. We started with 26 cars, and we still have I think 18 racing. Shovel Prem is still racing, so he's the last car racing right now, done in 18th. So attrition was kind of high, but the racing has been great. So I would say it's going down as expected right now.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I've called a few races now from the Roval, and although I don't have too much first-hand experience as far as racing it because I'm a garbage road racer, I will say that every race I've seen here has played out very differently. But the biggest consistency I've seen is that this track is one that can throw these drivers completely off their game.
Yeah, it obviously depends on what cars you're racing. SRF brings different challenges to the track than an MX-5 car, especially because of how the car is handling bumps and how you have to drive them. The SRF very understeery on the throttle and completely oversteery. Extremely loose, nearly drift car loose off throttle if you're not careful. So that is quite different to how you drive this car. It's a momentum car. Not a lot of problems as Anthony Burrs has a little bit of a slide there through turn 3. So you can challenge the curbs here a little bit more, the sausage curbs. You're not going to get as much of a penalty from that as the SRF, for example. So you always have to look from car to car here. But that battle for P2 is far from done, and it's actually have a lap comparison between Burrs and Maxime Boonvish, where Burrs does a last lap at 25.9 versus a 25.5 for Boonvish. So Boonvish is getting away from these two guys as Robert Hartley tries to go for the overtake into the backside chicane. Anthony Burrs lifts and lets him by.
Yeah, as we get closer to the end of
Burrs
this race,
with a big slide.
Yep. As we get closer to the end of this race, we're going to take a look back at Anthony Burrows here through that last incident, if you'd like to call it that. He hit the curbs there pretty hard.
I would say that's actually because he took the transition down to the apron wrong, because his car started to slide on the transition there. Luckily to catch that again, but unlucky for him, he lost the position to Salas, who now seems to try to catch Robert Hartley for that second place. And Boonvish has, I think that's 2 laps to go now, so he's gonna come to the white flag this time around. So for the second last time, he goes back onto the oval. And so far, quite a clean race from him.
Yeah, the last few weeks he's had a couple run-ins with some other drivers, but nonetheless he's been a fairly consistent top runner in this series, and thanks to his skillful driving as well as being in the right place at the right time, he's jumped out to a pretty healthy lead.
There he comes now through turn 4 of the Charlotte Oval, down into turn 15, 16 and 17, the last 3 corners of this road course. White flag in the air, one more lap to go. One more lap to maybe make some mistakes for the guys in behind to catch him, which we obviously don't hope, as Robert Hartley runs up to Max Brady, who very wide there lets everyone past. Great awareness by him.
Yeah, and how about Anthony Burrows back up into the podium spots?
That has happened into the last chicane as we were looking onto Maxime Boonvish, and it seems like Evan had a mistake through the backside chicane, so another victim fell to that.
It's a tough break for Cliff, too, as he was having a decent recovery from his incident earlier on.
Oh yeah, lost it onto the transition, and then very lucky that orange car there to get past him, as Maxime Boonvish is now getting through the backstretch chicane himself. through turn 3 and 4 of the NASCAR Oval he goes. Give it up for your winner of round 7 here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway Big C's MX-5 Challenge Season 2 winner. Win number 2 for Maxime Boonvish here at the draft track of Charlotte. Roval, and Robert Hartley with a mistake gets pushed over the line. What happened there?
Well, Burrows, we got a battle going on right now into turn 3 on the oval.
That is 4P6 between Christian Lindraud and Juan Manuel Fernandez. Fernandez on the inside there, the blue car of Sparky, to make a little bit of a ghost contact. Both keep it together. Fernandez goes over the line first, it seems like. Yes, it does. P6 goes to him. And yeah, what was that over the line, Chris?
Well, I was keeping an eye on this one because it just seemed like it had some potential, as the Hartley on the outside, or sort of the inside outside there, as they were side by side. Hartley hopped the curb, kind of pushed Burrows up the track, and then got out of shape as he transitioned onto the straightaway and ended up going around, and everybody just kind of piled in there, and somehow he still manages to cross the line in second.
Well, that was a finish with a bang. And yeah, the racing now might be over here in North Carolina, but the show is far from done. We're gonna step aside for just a few moments to take a breather, but we'll be back quickly for the Long Road Racing post-race show, where we will run you down the unofficial finishing order, talk to some of the drivers, and close off an eventful race. So don't step away too far, as GSRC will be back in just a bit.
The anticipation. But I never could have imagined where this journey would take me. My father once told me that racing is just like life. You have to stay on your toes, because you never know what's around the next corner. Bill Watson, and this is my story.
Well, fans, welcome back to the GSRC for the LRL Long Road Racing. There we go, post-race show here on the Global SimRacing channel. As Mazda's technical business partner, Long Road Racing is the exclusive builder of the real-life Global MX-5 Cup car. Whether you race, drive enthusiastically, or just get excited about cars, Long Road Racing offers professionally engineered vehicles and proven solutions for you. Find out how they can help you by visiting longroadracing.com. Well, Stefan, I don't even know who I'm talking to right now. That finish was so crazy. What a great race we saw there. We're gonna hop into our results breakdown here. Finishing first place was Maxime Bunovich over Robert Hartley, who miraculously came home second. Vicente Solis in third, with Anthony Burrows coming home in fourth. Fifth place is gonna belong to Justin Taylor, with Juan Manuel Fernandez in sixth. Christian Lindroth comes home seventh, with Nico Arvelomi in eighth, Jean-Francois Pinot in ninth, and a great recovery for Clifford Eben to round out the top 10.
Maxime Detilly, after a very sad incident there for him, or from his point of view, he only finishes down in 11th place. He's also the last car finishing on the lead lap. Alex Hunt down in 12th place ahead of Maxime Brady 13th. Melina Mann in 14th, the last car to finish one lap down. Simon Elpelding 2 laps down in 15th. Gary Weaver 16th. Chabush Prem 17th, and he's also the last car to finish today's race, as Nick Carty, Cassie Almeida, and Mitchell West are leading the names of the retirees.
Closing out the rest of our field was Colton Salick in 21st with Frank DeAngelis in 22nd. 23rd belonged to Liam Sheen with Mark Brightman in 24th. 25th place was Adam Mariak after an early race incident, and Kenny Brady would complete the field. A few drivers did not take the start. Justin Goulet, Paulo Cambria, Rio Cambria, Angelo Carlos, and Jarrett Liebert.
And the first to talk to us will be the driver of Maxime Detilly. Maxime, a very unfortunate incident there towards the end for you, sending you down the order, finishing only in 11th place. How did that look from your perspective?
Oh, that was unfortunately for me, but at the end, it's racing. The guys dive bomb a little bit, and I think he hit Robert in front, and Robert had to go in the grass too. And he hit the wall, and I hit him. So my race end at this point.
Yeah, as you said, a racing incident, unfortunate for you, sending you down the order. But yeah, apart from that, a very great race from you. You were all the way up there in the mix, and I think you were also having the pace to maybe do something for that P1. How did it feel to you?
I'm used to race against Robert and a few other guys really fast in the MX-5, so I know my value in that car. So I know I had the pace to do something in top three, maybe a win if any other accidents happen in front. So yeah, I'm looking forward for the next race.
Well, speaking about the next race, how are you looking forward to the next race that we're gonna head to?
I don't know what track it is, honestly.
I was stalling out. It's Spa-Francorchamps. There we
Oh,
go.
it's Spa. Oh my god. Oh, on Spa, I have a great chance on Spa. It's a track I know a lot. I love driving around Spa. It's one of my top three favorite tracks. So I think I will be good on Spa to follow Robert like I did this race.
Well, we are also gonna look forward to you trying to find it out yet again. Now, quick question: you are from Canada. Were you
Yeah.
there at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park? No, you were not, right?
No, I didn't
No.
run that.
Okay. Well, Maxime, anyway, thank you so very much for talking to us. Very sorry on that finish for you, but hey, heads up, we're going to Spa-Francorchamps and we're expecting something from you there.
Thanks a lot, Stefan.
Well, that was Maxime Detilly, your 11th place finisher, and Chris Hobby will be talking to Gary Weaver.
All right, catching up here with Gary Weaver in the 92 car. Gary, kind of an adventurous race for you today. Can you walk us through your run a little bit?
I'm still deciding on whether or not why I sort of like this track, but also it's a love-hate track. I'll say that. Man, I think my highest position in this race was P12 at some point, especially after a not too great practice in qualifying. I think I got like 24th in qualifying, so getting up to 12th at one point was great. Getting to the top 15 was my goal, but finishing 16th, just one position out, that kind of pains me, but at the same time, it's still better than the first race of the season because I believe I finished like 31st there. So I actually now have enough time to race pretty much the remaining races of the season. So hopefully I can get top 15 in one of these final races.
Yeah, this track a bit of a wild card, but we head to Spa next weekend. Are you a big fan of racing in Belgium?
Maybe not. Man, I've raced at Spa in the Pro Mazda. In the MX-5, though, I haven't. So I'm definitely going to be practicing for that. I don't know what to expect for it, to be honest. It's going to be interesting. I will say that. I am actually really looking forward to the long straightaways there. So the drafting there is going to be pretty insane.
Well, on a personal note, I do have to thank you for running the Lincoln Park scheme today. It's allowed me to make a lot of Lincoln Park related puns throughout the race. Looks like they must be a big something you're a big fan.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I've actually had any Lincoln Park related paint scheme, pretty much mostly in the NASCAR side, and I air quote ported a paint scheme over to the Mazda since I decided, well, you know what, they're pretty good. So it was really good. I made it after Chester Bennington sadly passed away, so they're pretty amazing. So I decided, you know what, I'm making a paint scheme for the Mazda as well. Might as well kind of spread the word out there just a little bit.
Very cool. Well, best of luck to you, Gary, and the rest of the races you're running with us this season, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yep, hopefully next week. Yeah, thanks.
All right, that was Gary Weaver, and looks like he was the last one in the media line.
Yeah, it does seem like so. And as always, GSRC would like to thank everyone on the track for a great show, and especially Clifford Eppen for organizing this league and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. Right now on your screen, you can see all of the companies that provide us with their great hard and software GSRC uses to deliver you the best possible show. Additional thanks goes to June Lott, who provides us with her great masterpieces. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Big C's MX-5 Challenge will return in 1 week, time for round 8 from Secret Spa-Francorchamps. iRacing and GSRC will be there. We hope you'll be too. Next up on GSRC will be the coverage of the Indy 500 of the American Majors Series. Coverage will air in just a bit at 7:45 p.m. Eastern over at the iRacing Esports Network. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, please visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also find us on the social media platforms, Twitter with @GSRChannel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, or Instagram at GSRC_gram. All of the upcoming races for our other series are right now sliding across your screen, so do check them out and mark them down on your calendar to not miss another second of exciting racing action. If you haven't done so yet, become a YouTube subscriber by hitting that red subscribe button just below this broadcast. Maybe even hit that bell to get notified when we next go live with more exciting racing. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, Sean, Chris, Dougie, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in as Maxime Bournewish took away the victory at Charlotte Motor Speedway. With that said, until next time, servus and sayonara, and as always, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.